That's me a lot of the time.
I know that's both of us a lot of the time as well. And with that, welcome back to Maniacal Music Musings. You all know I'm your host, Jeremy, and I'm an American. Not a proud one, just saying. But once upon a time, I met the cousin of death. She gave me an ultimatum. Be drenched in blood and bang bang. Or this gun in your mouth. You know which way I went. I got a suplex and ripped to shreds. But that brujeja left a stain that still sits on my bed to this day. My co-host, let me tell you about this guy. About his bloody Sunday. Oof, what a day. He was visiting his favorite suicide girl, dancing on a pole, trying to go half on a sack. When I pull up at the club, the hard hitters are getting to bust him in. I had to act before he started to spaz out. Now, this ain't no soldier story, but it'll get you by. There were body parts everywhere, and he kept yelling, "Don't violate! That's coke, boys!" All I can say in reply to him was, "Pussy got you hooked, man, and fuck Tony Montana for that coke shit. Chancy motherfucking Grave!"
Hi.
I am especially proud of that intro, ladies and gentlemen. I truly am. That one was written, and I was sitting there smiling and laughing the whole time writing it, and thinking about what Chancy's face would look like when I watch that replay. That was so good I need a cigarette after, just saying. But we are back once again, folks, and we are joined by a guest, of course, as always, to help us talk about some good music. And holy fuck, good music is right this week, but we'll get to that. Our guest this week is Gary D, rapper, executive producer, and so much more that we're going to get into him in a few seconds. But what's going on, Gary? How's it going, brother?
How you guys doing? That was a good intro, and I could tell that we have a lot of the same songs picked already.
There's a little caveat there from my album, but yes, go ahead.
That was good. That's hard to do with all the songs like that. I think I would fucking stare at that for hours and like tear it apart and then start over like 6 times. So that's good.
It was definitely a challenge today. And just so our audience knows what kind of person we are dealing with, Gary used to literally open for Bone Thugs and Harmony.
That was a different life a long time ago, but yeah, it was the mid 90s.
Ooh.
It was and the last time was 2003, I think.
I was gonna say it had to be around the early 2000s because that's when I really remember them getting huge. But personally, I mean, they had their moment in the 90s too, but then they kind of faded until they came back with that one album like 01, 02. That me and my brother used to bump that one constantly. Guess Who's Back was the opening track. I'll always remember that because that was the most amazing song ever. But
yeah, it was kind of random. They came to UNLV in Las Vegas where I was living at the time, and we just happened to be paired up on the same card. And I grew up in Cleveland, and I started at I did a show with them at Severance Town Center, which is one of the 30 abandoned malls there now, in '95 probably. I was 16 or 15 probably at the time, and they were just starting to really get big. And I mean, they were the biggest thing that came out of Cleveland probably ever at that point still, I would say, especially in the world of music.
I was going to say, I'm like, Drew Carey might disagree with you there, but.
Yeah, he's a dick. I don't like him.
I honestly believe that. And the scary thing was he was on Bracket a couple weeks ago for Nicest People in Hollywood.
I met him one time, and he was not cool to me at all. So that's what I based my I just moved to LA. I saw him at this place called The Grove, which is like an outdoor mall. He was having a beer. Seemed like a social environment. I said, "Hey, what's up, man? My name's Gary. I'm from Cleveland." He goes, "A lot of people are from Cleveland," and didn't shake my hand. And I was like, "Okay, did I just get punked by Drew Carey? I'm like, what the fuck?" And that was the whole introduction to him. I was like, "Yeah, okay."
Yeah, that would definitely sour my spirits a little on him in the future.
He might have had a bad day or been trying to hit on the girl, and I was fucking his game up or something. So I don't hate him, but.
I mean, okay, was this fat Drew Carey or after surgery Drew Carey?
He was still pretty chunky for sure.
All right, and that was
a while ago.
No, that's Drew Carey back in the day, though. That's like that's 90s, 2000s Drew Carey I grew up with. But
Yeah, that was early 2000s probably.
But right in whose lines is anyway fame. But
yeah.
So there was one other thing I saw in your profile that I have to ask about because I am a connoisseur of certain videos on the internet. And I saw that it says that you did a porno with Mark Cuban and Dennis Rodman.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Kind of. Definitely happened.
Chancy so is muted his mic to be like, holy fuck, babe, guess what?
Nah.
So that was a very weird situation. I'll tell you that.
I'm sure. I mean, fucking Dennis Rodman.
Yeah. So I just moved to LA or moved back to LA. I think it was 2007. And the producer I'd worked for a few times said, hey, I'm doing a show with Dennis Rodman. My wife's having a kid out in New York. Could you produce it? Take the lead on it? Just, yeah, sure. So it was called Geek to Freak with Dennis Rodman. And it was on HDNet, which was the first high definition channel available in America. Mark Cuban owned it at the time. It's probably 2007, I think. So this was the first original program that ever aired in high definition in America. It was terrible. I mean, it was really, really terrible. But each episode, he would take a geek and turn him into a freak. So there was like a classically trained violinist who turned into a punk rocker, like a figure skater that turned into like a roller derby chick, a chess champion that turned into like a rapper. And then one was this scientist kid from, I think, UCLA or whatever, or really smart, like, I think he was Asian, like Korean or something. Definitely Asian, I think Korean. And they turned him into a porno director. And I didn't think it was going to be like full on porn, but it was full on porn. And it was really weird. Yeah, I just finally actually saw it for the first time in its entirety because I didn't even have HDNet at the time, and we shoot the episodes, editors edit them, and it goes up, months later. And I was just moved to LA, just nobody had that. It was like only on Dish Network or something at the time, probably. So during COVID, I found the DVD for $5 on Amazon, and I finally got to see the episode cut together.
That's awesome.
That is awesome. Totally different aspect than I thought that story was going to go into. But I mean, I expect you to be like double doing a chick with like Dennis Rodman or some shit.
No, Mark Cuban was my boss. I talked to him every day about it, which is really surreal now seeing like where he's at. And he was the executive producer. And then Rodman was a wild man. I mean, I have a bunch of stories from that show, but he was directing the kid directing, and the kid got way too in there at one point, like jumped in face first, literally, and they pulled him out, and they're like, "Can't do that. You haven't been tested, or you're not licensed. Like, you get us shut down." And like, kid got all excited. It was rough. It was the first time my mother ever came to visit me in LA, and I was on a conference call in the back of the office, and she was sitting where like the secretary used to sit, and this guy comes in and just hands her this box, like, "This is for Gary." She's like, okay. So my mom's nosy. She's an Italian woman. So she opens up the box, and it's like 80 porno DVDs that he had just given me as a gift. And they were like real hardcore. And my mom worked at the church for 35 years back in Ohio. She's not like a super prudish person or anything, but she was like, what the fuck are you doing out here? Like, I thought you were working with a basketball player, and, you're supposed to be working on, all these, like, what the fuck, you're doing porn? I'm like, well, kind of just for this week, though, I swear. Like,
just for this week.
Yeah.
I'm only a porno director for 1 week. It's just a job career thing.
Yeah, it was man, I can't even describe how like surreal some of those moments were, but yeah.
Jesus, that story is pretty epic as I thought it would be. I gotta say.
I'll send you a couple pictures from the set with Dennis's reactions and shit. I just actually found a few of them, but yeah, they did like the casting, and the one girl they picked had pink eye from another video that she had done a couple of days earlier, and they're like, "We'll shoot her from this side," and I'm like, "What the fuck are we doing here, man?" Like, I thought I was moving to Hollywood to make movies and shit. Like, this was not what I planned for. Dennis was hard to deal with for sure.
I am sure, because there's got to be a reason that North Korea likes him so much.
Yeah.
Like, I can't figure out that relationship for like the last decade. I can't figure out that relationship at all. It just doesn't make sense in the world.
he'd be cool if you're like hanging with him, but if you're trying to like get a show done and like control the chaos, like he does not make it easy on you. If you're part of his posse, it might be a fun time, but trying to get him to do what he was getting paid to do, I'm like, man, this is an easy job. Like, you obviously want the money, right? Just please help me just today. Just we kind of stay on schedule. But it was one thing after another.
Yeah. I mean, as a catchphrase we use in our circle a lot, I can imagine him like trying to hurt a cat and trying to get it to do what you want it to do. It just ain't gonna happen. But
yeah, like he had to do the intros for every show, and he just fucked them up so bad every time. And one was the rapper episode at this club in LA. There's like 200 or 300 people there, and like just destroys it. I'm like, man, it's like the intro to your show. Like, you got to at least say the kid's name right. Like, please just like try it one more time. And he fucking nails it. I'm like, thank God. And he's like, see the guy in the hat right there? He's like, he's buying a Jaeger bomb for everyone in this fucking building right now. And just points at me, and they just bum rush the bar with like 200 people at the exact same time. I'm like, yeah, thanks.
yeah, I'd be putting that in the fucking production check. That's for damn sure. But,
oh, I called the boss, and he's like, how much more do you have to shoot? I'm like, he's on his last song. He's like, get everything in the car. As soon as that kid's off the stage, go out the back door and don't go back. I'm like, okay, I'll do that. And they called 1,000 times.
I'm sure they want that much Jaeger bombs is fucking expensive. Like, Jesus Christ, that's
in LA too. They're probably $12 each.
At least. At least. I mean, they're $12 out here now. I mean, at least. Yeah. The Red Bull always made those shit so expensive. But well, folks, we are here to talk about music, and holy fuck, do we have a rap battle for you today. And we're going to start off, of course, with our guest CD because we're kind people. And Gary, what album did you bring for us? And why did you want to bring this one?
Well, I'm not sure. Like, I've looked at like a ton of different albums, and I picked like, I first wanted to pick like one artist, like an album that was like the whole artist, you know, and then I was like, compilations are kind of cheating. And I ended up going with Army of the Pharaohs, Unholy Terror. The Crown Jewel edition on, I don't know why that they changed it from the original. I think they probably had like some clearance issues, but some of the songs are a little different on there. So, but I picked Army of the Pharaohs, which is like the Jedi mind tricks posse. And I think that's like a good representation of like the aggression and like aggressive music that I mostly like these days. It's kind of like my therapy music, I would say. Keeps me from like actually beating people up and stuff like that. Like, listen to something like that's semi-aggressive, like get it all out, and it's, you know, good production, really good lyrically. There's some politics in there, some street stuff in there, some sad stuff, some like stuff, but it's like mostly aggressive with like a few like more chill moments. So that's kind of a long answer, but I just like it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually kind of curious to see what Chancy says about a lot of that artists today, because I don't know how Chancy's going to feel about these artists. His rap, from what I understand of Chancy's rap liking, it is here and there, like it's varied depending on the artist. But we never talked Jedi Mind Tricks yet on this show, so I'm kind of curious. Chancy, what do you think of Army of the Pharaohs?
I mean, I thought it was interesting. I started with it, and usually the first thing I'll do is I just put it on, and then I'll give it a first initial listen while I play like a video game, just to kind of get a feel of how it sounds and everything. I kind of liked it. It was it's like something that Jeremy would pick, only better.
Motherfucker. It already starts. Fucking 14 minutes in. Jesus Christ.
It took longer than I thought.
No, you know.
That's what she said to him last night, but you know.
I have the opposite problem.
Yeah, no, I actually quite enjoyed it. It was I hadn't listened to it before. It was definitely nice to kind of, just check it out, get to know new stuff. I like checking out new things. You know, Jeremy didn't suggest it, so I wasn't exactly that trepidatious when I went, when I went into it.
Oh, I mean, Chancy's always down to check out a new Suicide Girl. So,
I mean, I guess. I don't know about all that.
Are those still a thing? Like that was like a very popular website and stuff for a while.
Yeah, it was. I don't know if they did, it's probably like a name change.
I'm
Yeah.
sure.
Oh yeah, they must have got
Mental,
sued a lot.
I'm positive they got sued a couple times, like a lot of the early internet. But trying to find who owns them is not always easy. So, corporations within corporations within corporations. But
yeah, I think it's just a huge Ponzi scheme. Like the whole porn industry just moves money around in circles somehow.
oh, it does. I mean, it so has to. And like it's literally like these payment sites you to go through, and then like if they charge your credit card extra than you agreed to, like literally to call your bank and be like, yeah, this is fraud. Like, and they're like, did you contact them? I'm like, no, you go try to contact them because I can't find shit.
Yeah, good luck with that. They're like in the Cayman Islands or some shit, and their phone number just never. Yeah, I'm sure.
Cambodia, Thailand, somewhere over there. But
yeah,
as far as Army of the Pharaohs go, see.
Oh yeah, I go off topic a lot, so you got to just bring it up.
Oh, they call us musers for a reason. But I mean, Army of the Pharaohs. I went through 6-7 years ago like a phase at my job where I was just going through like all these like golden rap artists, and like of course that led down a rabbit hole to Jedi Mind Tricks, and of course Jedi Mind Tricks opened up like 5 more rabbit holes to different other groups that they all formed after they left. And I've listened to all of your Army of the Pharaoh albums before. It's been a long fucking time because I love them, but they're also not like stuff I can listen to every day. I mean, I can listen to artists like them every day, just not them. It's hard to explain. I mean, I love Demons and Wizards, which is Iced Earth and Blind Guardian together, but I'd rather listen to Blind Guardian solo than Iced Earth, like that type of thing. Like certain rappers in there I love, but certain rappers I just don't like the voice of, or I just, I go and do so much of them before I get like, backing away now. But Army of the Pharaohs I always have loved. I respected them. They are right up there with another group we're going to be talking about a little later, with like the 2000s super groups that formed from like legendary rap stars. And just it's super groups are a great thing. They're amazing, especially in rap. They're rare and hard to come by, but they're amazing. And Army of the Pharaohs is definitely among that. I love this fucking album. And yeah, I think the reason you can't find the original version on Spotify is I think Jedi Mind Tricks technically owns it, and it's a whole, with all these groups, it's always a legal battle between who owns what, because there's so many people in it that are trying to take control of it. But
right,
I mean, fucking Vinny Piaz, I fucking love. Like, and that'll get into why I picked my album later on about that as well. But what are your top 5 songs off your album there, Gary?
This was tough. It's changed like a few times today. But I think I like Spaz Out. The intro from Troy, like I mostly work with fighters and with different fight promotions, the UFC being the main one. And like been working with them for almost 20 years. And I think about like walkout music a lot, and like what makes good walkout music. And that starts with like a Troy, a scene from the movie Troy about fighting the Salonians and Remember Your Name, and it comes with like some like cinematic opera music. So that's the one that like I usually go to first, especially if I'm like going to go to the gym and like work out or go spar some 16-year-old kids that got a lot more energy than me. Then like at least like get me through like a round and a half before I'm like, I'm done. 44 years old, I'm out here. So that one, Suicide Girl, which we talked about, it's just such a different vibe from the rest of the album. It's like it's a deep song. Then I like Cooking Keys. I really like the piano in that, and it's another. They're still talking like some pretty hardcore shit, but the beat is like a little more like upbeat, mellow, kind of like jazzy. It's hard to explain, but I like that one a lot. Hollow Points I like. They use another like audio sample at the beginning from the Iceman. I remember it's the Iceman Confessionals or Confessions of an Iceman, a documentary. about a
Richard
serial
Kuklinski.
killer. Yeah,
Yep.
that's it.
Yeah.
And, I thought that was pretty rad. And then Bust 'Em In is just one that like gets me fired up. Like that's another song that just like, you can like get the rage out kind of. And like all of them are just like really great lyrically. They play off each other well. You can tell that like there's competition when one guy writes his verse, the next guys are trying to like one up them, which I think is cool. And yeah, and if you ask me at the end of this, I'll have thought of 3 other songs I like more and would want to like move them in, which I think it's a good problem to have because a lot of albums these days you'll listen and it's like, why is this a full album? 3, 4 good songs and the rest are like obviously filler. But I think these guys, at least at that time, like brought their A game.
Oh yeah, I mean, Vinny Piaz never doesn't bring his A game. He's always a fucking incredible guest in any song he's on, and it's funny. I would take it to mine. But Chancy, what was your top 5?
Number 5 for me was Spaz Out. Number 4 was Suicide Girl. Number 3 was The Ultimatum. Number 2 was Godzilla, and number 1 was Hollow Points. I dug that sample. I'm a sucker for a sample.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, me too.
As you'll see with his album. But now I mean, I actually had 3 honorable mentions because I fucking do love. I love them. I love this group a lot. Like they're fucking amazing, super group. And number 8 was Bust 'Em In, which I swear to God I had to read that title like 10 times because I kept thinking it said Bust In 'Em.
That's a whole different
like,
kind of ball game.
I know, and that's why I'm listening to the song. I'm listening to the song, and I'm like, this title is deceiving. And then I'm like reading it again. I'm like, oh, Bust 'Em In. It makes more sense. That makes more sense. Okay. I had to re-listen to the song and be like, okay, now that makes sense. But number 7 was Rip to Shreds because that fucking flow in that was incredible. I love that shit. And then number 6 was Hollow Points because I love the fucking intro to it. And I mean, any of these songs that were kind of closer to horrorcore, I really dug because I love my horrorcore rap. And they Army of Pharaohs kind of touches on it a little. So it's all the other groups that are on here tonight. They all like blend into horrorcore a little bit at different times, especially the one group that somebody bought. But number 5 was Spaz Out because that was a freaking amazing song, and it makes you think of that My Friend Dahmer movie because they the whole beginning where he's in high school and they're like, oh, he's spazzing out.
Oh yeah,
but that's what made me think of always. Number 4 was Suplex because I just immediately thought of wrestling and the song kind of went with it. Like it would have been like a good intro song. But number 3 was Drenched in Blood because that is pure horrorcore fucking love right there. Like Drenched in Blood is an amazing fucking song. The lyrics are phenomenal. Number 2 was Ultimatum because everything, the beat, the flow was just sick, like completely. And of course, number 1 was Suicide Girl because it was so different from what they usually do. And it reminded me of like a Twisted song or maybe even an Esham song in a way. Like that's just kind of where my mind went with it. So I freaking love Suicide Girl. I mean, I can definitely see some of my favorite rappers doing it. So surprised no one has, honestly. But those are my top 5 for Army of Pharaohs. And yeah, like I said, when you said Army of Pharaohs, I was like, oh, fuck. Someone else is going to bring an Army of Pharaohs? I thought it was up to me eventually. Shit. Like, I almost forgot about them for a minute. And then I'm like, shit, okay. I mean, they come up with my songs once in a while, but it's not that often. They will more now.
Not individually, those groups have some popularity, especially Jedi Mind Tricks, but I think people forget about the compilation albums. And people don't listen to albums anymore. Like, they listen to one song. And, like, so people, I rarely hear someone go, like, hey, this album was great. It's like, hey, did you hear that song? But, like, I think the art of an album is, like, a lost thing.
I mean, it is and it isn't. I mean, if you're really a fan of any band, you're going to listen to their full albums regardless. I mean, just because you're a fan, it's the way it goes. I mean, I'm not going to go to ICP's new album and listen to one song and be done. I'm like, no, their albums are albums. You need to listen to the whole thing because there's usually like a flow through it and there's skits in the middle and shit. They aren't even like tracks.
Right, but like then it gets into like, and for me, I'll do that, but then it gets into shuffle world after a couple weeks or months. And then I'll never hear a skit again. I never hear listen like front to back. Like it's.
I mean, that's honestly part of the reason I wanted to start the show is because I wanted to hear albums people brought to me like front to back and enjoy them, or hate on them horribly, which we've done in the past. But
Yeah, I like that concept of
Base Nectar. That's a Base Nectar reference, but you're never living that down, Chancy. Never.
I mean, everybody rolls up a Cottonmouth Kings every now and then. All right.
Hey, I like the fucking wordplay there, but and it's not. Well, okay, Cottonmouth Kings is going to come into play a little bit later tonight too, so we'll get there. But let's go to your album, Chancy. Which album did you want to bring?
I brought The Most Known Unknown by 3 6 Mafia. I figured if we're gonna go with a rap show, I figure, go back to the well for, a sure thing.
Oh, that's failed a couple times to 3 6 in this show, but this time maybe not so much. We'll find out. But first things first, why did our guests think of 3 6 Mafia?
They got beef with Bone still, I think. So fuck. No, I'm just kidding. Like, I've always liked them.
They do. That beef don't die.
Yeah, like it did, and then I think, or they just were away from each other probably, and then like the versus shit came up, and then like I think they're back beefing. Like they accused Bone of stealing their style early on when they sounded nothing alike, in my opinion. And then
no, they really didn't. In the beginning, they definitely didn't.
Yeah, and then I don't know.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But I always liked them, especially the earlier stuff. I started a riot once with 3 6 Mafia that resulted in a lot of fucking turmoil. So I think they've always had a place in my heart. But we're a quick story. We're playing at this underage club at 16 or 18 and under. We're like 16. My buddy was a DJ. And about an hour left to go, the promoter guy came up. He's like, yeah, we're not going to be able to pay you what we said we're going to pay you. Like, we give you like $100, but like people bought pops. Like there was no liquor. So like kids just weren't buying 100 fucking $4 sodas. So they underestimated or overestimated how much they would make. So they didn't want to pay us. And he's like, stop paying like that gangster shit. Like it's getting a little too fucking hectic here. I'm like, you're going to fucking pay us. And he's like, nah, he's like, what are you going to do? You going to fucking call the cops? You don't have a fucking contract. I was like, all right. So I was like, hey, you know that 3 6 Mafia song, Hit 'em Motherfucker? I'm like, load that one up. So I got on the mic. I'm like, there's all out of gangs in there. I was like, how many Bloods are in this motherfucker? How many GDs are in this motherfucker? I bet you motherfuckers won't hit it. And then he's like, hit 'em motherfucker. And everyone just, boom, they just started hitting each other, like chairs flying. And like, just, it was a mess. And we never got paid, but
I love that.
We didn't get paid.
You should have just paid us what he agreed to. You thought we were just like, some punk kids that weren't gonna, do anything. Like I wasn't gonna get a lawyer, but
right.
I don't condone that type of activity. I was 15 years old, probably, or 16. But.
I mean, and you ain't Will Smith to his DJ Jazzy Jeff. You ain't gonna go up and just smack a motherfucker. So
no. Oh, that I get a lot of references to that shit all the time. The smacking, like that. Yeah, I work for a slap fighting organization as well, so I get a lot of the slap thing. People still to this day call me up and like, I haven't heard of that. You know, it'd be awesome. I'm like, you say the Will Smith thing, I'm never talking to you again. But good album. I like 3 6 Mafia still. They're one of the few groups out there that 100% you could tell it's one of their songs from the first 2 seconds when it comes on. Mm-hmm. I don't think people should have to change up or keep up with the times if they're an artist. I think like do what got you to the fucking dance. I don't think 45, 50-year-old dude should be sounding like Drake. I think like sound like yourselves and do your own thing, and your fan base might not be 1 trillion people, but you'll have a solid base that sticks with you forever. And I think that's the kind of band that people are riding with them, till the end. And like definitely a good choice. I spent a lot of time in Memphis too. Worked there from 2018 and 19, pretty much the whole 2 years. And they still are very loved down there for sure.
Oh, I mean, the few that remain at this point, but
yeah,
they've been dropping like flies the last decade. But
yeah,
that's what happens when you're in the trap house all those years. But
Yeah, it's
I mean,
just that road living too is just like people think like the drugs and drinking get you lots. The fucking McDonald's and Wendy's and fucking KFC and shit that they're I'm on the road a lot and like the diet fucks you up more than the drinking and fucking other shit sometimes. So these guys like their hearts usually go from poor diet and too much fucking lean and whatever else.
yeah, makes sense. And I mean, well, as far as Chancy's album goes, Chancy knows I'm a 3-6 fan. Hell, I made a 6-part 3-6 Mafia bracket we're gonna get to eventually on this show. I mean, I'm a huge 3-6 fan because they were inspired to start by ICP. Hypnotized Camp Posse was their version of ICP, basically, and I love 3-6 Mafia because that's where they came from, and I love their earlier stuff. Their newer, when they became popular and their newer stuff, it kind of lost me. I was just like, they did change. Like, it's not the same. You can still, yes, you can recognize them from the get-go to the newest shit, but it changed. And for the most part, it changed. They went from being horrorcore to being, after the first 3 albums, to being like mainstream early 2000s rap. And it pissed me off a lot. I mean, they still had some damn good bangers, but I mean, it's just, I don't know. I love it. And this album wasn't bad. Chancy has brought some 3-6 Mafia albums, some Juicy J albums from was like, what the fuck do you think? But I mean, most known unknown is freaking a lot of songs I knew already and a couple new ones I haven't heard before. And so it was a pleasant mix between things I love and things I get to discover that I haven't heard before. Definitely got a top 5. Definitely got many honorable mentions. So I mean, it's 3-6 Mafia. Who the fuck doesn't love 3-6?
Yeah, it's like the songs I thought I didn't like, then I listened to them and I'm like, I want to not like this, but I do like it. Like, like halfway through, like bouncing and you like forget that you're supposed to hate
Exactly.
it. Like,
I mean, it's like when I have to listen to Eminem CD albums for this show. It's like I'm supposed to hate him, but sometimes it's hard in the older shit.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And I mean, I hate to tell you this, Gary, but one of my favorite 3-6 songs is "Live by Your Rep," which is totally a diss track to both thugs. So
yeah, it's a good song. Like I'm all about the competition. So like, yeah.
I mean, I love Dre and I love what the fuck's the other guy's name? Not Easy, but MC Ren. I love both them, but I fucking love No Vaseline. That shit's the funniest shit in the world.
Yeah, that's still probably the hardest diss song ever. Like, like
for the time it came out. Yeah. For the time it came out, I mean, hardest diss track ever, I think, is ICP dissing Eminem, but because they go fucking, dude, they talk about fucking. They did a whole song about fucking his mom.
That doesn't matter. The hardest diss track, if we're talking like, it's either gonna be No Vaseline or that one that fucking I think it was Nas, the one that Nas did.
No, Ether.
Thank you.
Yeah. Those are up there. Those are the top for sure. I don't know offhand the ICP one. I mean, I know they exist and I heard them back in the day. But I can't say exactly.
There's 3 of them. There's fucking 3 of them.
Yeah, I know they were going at it pretty good. Eminem got him too, though. Them pretty too.
Eminem.
Like I remember one of the lines. Like, how would he say? There's a homophobic reference in it, and then he said something about claiming Detroit, but you live 20 miles away or something like that. I don't know. I think they had a pretty good comeback. Like Eminem's a good battle rapper, and those guys like cut deep, so it was a good battle.
It was. I mean, I don't know. That feud was over, and just like Bone Thugs in 3-6, like it was over. Then now supposedly it's back on again because Eminem put out a diss track or something like that. Like I don't know. Like Eminem just needs to. They all need to fucking just stop at this point. They're in their 50s for fuck's sake. Like, what are you gonna do? Go beat each other with your walkers? But
yeah, I'd watch it. Pay-per-view.
I mean, yeah, right.
I'd watch it. That's damn sure, but
I would absolutely pay a ticket and watch it.
But Chancy, what were your top 5 in your album?
So number 5 for me was Swervin'. Ain't Got Time for Games. That was another one. fucking. I mean, bouncing can't go wrong with that. That's an honorable mention. Basically, I mean, without pulling a U and throwing the whole thing in, you know, obviously, then I'll just have to go with the top 3 most commonly known ones. Obviously, you got Half on a Stack, Popping My Collar, Stay Fly, right there. I mean, that's. I mean,
No,
that's
you're gonna hate
what.
me. You're gonna hate me.
I'm not really. I mean,
You're gonna be in therapy more, but you're gonna hate me.
probably not.
Well, Gary, what were your top 5 before I break Chancy's hopes and dreams?
This also changed a little bit, but I think top 5. What did I end up with? Obviously, back to the fighting stuff. Hard Hitters was probably my favorite one on the album. Pop My Collar was one of those ones I was like, this is not going on the list. And then I played it. And then I was like, damn it, I like this song.
That's funny.
I thought that was dope. Don't You Get Mad. I love the Willie Hutch sample in there. I make a lot of music myself and I use soul samples a lot. And I forgot how much I do like Little Flip too. Swervin', I really like. I like the Texas car culture songs, Paul Wall, and you know, I like a lot of Bun B and all those guys from Texas. So really like that. And Roll With It, I like a lot. I like that Motorola Chirp Chirp. It's like it dates it. Like that's like it brings me back to like a certain time, which like I always say music's like a time machine. You know, a certain song can like in your brain or like make you feel like you're a kid or teenager. Like, and that song, like I instantly remembered like wearing a size like 5 Cavs jersey, like in a Grand Am. That song like bumping with some 12s in the back. So like I think that was. It'll change a little bit, but I think all the samples and like those are all kind of like a little different, I guess. One was poppy, one was like kind of more their violent older stuff. One was more of a southern track. So I think like this album had like a few different songs that were kind of leaning towards the South, which was the most popular music I think at that time, but like they still had their flavor in it. So it's kind of like a mix of different genres. But yeah, I forgot how much I liked that album because I was kind of like always kind of like what you were saying earlier about liking it the first few 3 albums and then disliking it. Like I feel that way too. But then I listened to some of their newer stuff and I'm like, it's not as good, but it's still not terrible. Like there's some redeeming quality and like in it. And then they always have a couple songs on the albums that weren't really the most popular ones that are still like some punch a motherfucker in the mouth type shit that, you know, like Eminem too. He'll have the poppiest crap songs that I just can't stand. And then you'll forget that there's like gems on every one of those albums that no one really talks about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, with 3 6 Mafia, I definitely see that shit. And like it's funny because 4 out of my top 5 weren't even mentioned yet. So that's the ironic part. But I did have 4 honorable mentions for this CD as well because it's fucking 3 6 Mafia. And surprisingly enough, Chancy, number 9 was most known unknown hits because Satanic did the same thing in one of his albums where like he put like a bunch of his popular songs, like clips from them into like one track. And I love when they do that because like those are all clips from songs I fucking loved in that. And like I was hoping like some of them be on the CD, and I'm like, oh, of course they're not. Why would they be? This is when 3 6 Mafia started to suck. But my number 8 was Stay Fly. Because it went in the list immediately and just got shoved down continuously. I mean, I don't know. It reminds me too much of Stay Fresh or what the hell it is. Fucking Outcast.
Yeah, Fresh and So Clean.
Yeah, so fresh. Like it kind of reminds me of that, like in a way. But
yeah, I had to pick one pop song, "Pop My Collar" or that. "Pop My Collar" just one for that.
I can happily say "Pop My Collar" did not make my fucking list at all. But that to me is just too mainstream. But number 7 was when I pull up at the crib. I mean at the club because that's typical. Their typical trap fucking fight shit I love. And number 6 was Hard Hitters for the same reason. I love their fight shit, but it's not my favorite shit they do. I like it when they touch on other subjects a little more. Number 5 was Dancing on a Pole, because that was actually a damn good lyrics, beat, everything. That was amazing. Number 4 is Half on Sack, because I actually never heard that song, but it's fucking really good. Number 3 was Pussy Got You Hooked, because fuck, every man can relate to that shit. Every man can relate to that shit. And I mean, the female in it too is fucking incredible. So,
Valid.
Number two was Don't Violate, because I like the story behind that shit. And then number 1, I can't believe nobody else mentioned this fucking shit. This is what got me into 3-6 Mafia. All parts of this song, fucking Body Parts 3. Like the newest one they did as the Mafia 6 now. That Body Parts is the best one by far because of the amount of people they have on it. But I mean, it's like a fucking 30-second intro of all the people that are on it. But I mean, I love all the versions of Body Parts. Like, it's fucking incredible. Always a incredible collab from the first fucking one on like the first CD. And like, I got these body parts in my trunk. Like, that's the most classic line ever. It's horrorcore edge purist. And I mean, it's the only thing that pisses me off is Lord Infamous isn't around for this CD, and that's what pisses me off because this is when this is like right after they kicked him out and like because of all this shit, and like he's not around any of these tracks, and that kind of pissed me off because that's my favorite member of 3-6 always. It was Lord Infamous.
Why did they kick him out?
Drugs, alcohol, everything. He was wilding out. He was wilding out, and when Juicy and Paul were trying to like get a little more serious, and like they were trying to get a TV show, and like they're like, we can't have you on a TV show because you're gonna fuck everything up for us. So they booted him out, and then like that slowly started breaking down 3-6 Mafia from that point on. Basically, like once the show ended, like they just started separating and going their own shit.
I forgot about that show.
I never even watched one fucking second of it, but I just heard one of my best friends years ago like loved it when it was on, so he always used to talk about it. Like, I'd never seen it, but I mean, I also don't want to see Juicy. I don't want to see Juicy and Paul getting followed around on camera. I'm fucking good with that. Like, I don't need to waste my time on that shit. But I mean, I do love that.
Worth watching.
I did see DJ Paul live like 5 years ago when he was signed under Psychopathic, and he opened up for ICP, and he was one of the openers, and fucking, I took acid that night. We got acid that night, and like I didn't think it was kicking in, and then next thing I know, I black out during the beginning of the POD set. Come to as they're doing I'm So Alive, which is fucking awesome, and then I black out again, not knowing who even's on next. And when I come to, DJ Paul's on stage wearing a fucking gold Illuminati mask like thing, just going 666 666 like over and over again. And I was like, this is why do I keep coming out the best moments? Like, this is fucking awesome.
Yeah, that could be like really awesome on acid or the worst thing that's ever happened to you, just depending on where your mind
is.
It was definitely an awesome experience because I'm just such a fan of all these bands. I mean, POD I wasn't a big fan of. I mean, I like their hits, but I'm not a big. And the funny thing is that I didn't even realize that they were like a Christian rock group until this concert. And I guess it makes sense because ICP is technically a Christian rap group. So, I mean.
Technically how? Like, they are.
Because the Carnival is God. That's what they unveiled in the 6 Jokers card.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah, I knew I should have brought ICP in this fucking shit. I was going to bring that album too. And I was thinking about it for a hot second. And I'm like, I was going to bring the fucking Wraith and Die Unveiling. Like, they basically say the Carnival is God. Sorry if we tricked y'all. That's literally what they say. They say over and over again the chorus. Sorry if we tricked y'all. We didn't mean to hurt you.
I thought it was we're not sorry if we tricked you.
I think they go both ways. I think they start off saying sorry, then they're like at the end it's like we're not sorry. Fuck you.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was like the last album of theirs I bought. I just threw it out the window. I was like, no, we're not. No. That's fucking stupid.
But then they unleashed Hell's Pit, which was like the satanic version of that album, and it was the best fucking thing ever. Like, it has some of their best tracks on it. Like, people love Hell's Pit. It's amazing. I mean, In My Room, fucking Truly Alone. Like, oh my God, so many hits on that shit that like are for depressed ass people. Which I was one of those depressed ass people for a long time, so I love it. And In My Room is one of the creepiest fucking songs ever. Oh my God. But I mean, yeah,
I'll have to listen to a few. It's been a while since I've listened to any. I haven't listened to anything of theirs in a long time, but there's definitely songs I liked.
if you like dark shit, Hell's Pit is dark as fuck.
Yeah, I'll definitely check it out. I think
Ah,
there's horrorcore stuff I really liked. I mean, that was more like on the Gravediggers side of things, but there's like a
oh,
lot of shit.
I love me some fucking Gravediggers.
Yeah,
Oh,
like that.
what the hell's their one? What the hell's the main song they? Oh, is it just called 666? I think, or 6 Feet Deep.
I'm not sure.
Oh no, oh no, okay, I know. Okay, I love Gravediggers. I'm not thinking of them though. I'm thinking of Flatliners. But Gravediggers is amazing too. I just haven't listened. I haven't listened to Gravediggers in a fucking minute. Like,
Yeah,
I discovered them around the same time I listened to Army of Pharaohs for the first time, and like it was like all like I was searching all the horrorcore shit. But Gravediggers is fucking incredible.
they started out really like horrorcore the first album, and then the second one shifted a bit, and then they were more Wu-Tang ish. Like,
Yeah,
but still dope. But it was just like it was a different thing. The first one was like a pure horrorcore album, and then the second one was like half and half, I'd say probably.
yeah. I mean, that's what drives me nuts about these bands is you start off with one thing and you get fans because you start off with that thing, and then you're gonna try to switch it up and think they're gonna follow you. Like, no, that's not gonna happen. I mean, how many?
Sometimes it does.
Sometimes. I mean, that's like Jelly Roll. Like, I love old school Jelly Roll when he was working with Lil Wayne and 3-6 like a lot. Like, I love that old school Jelly Roll. Like, No Sick Days is one of the best fucking CDs ever with him and Lil Wayne doing it together. I saw them live when they did that album. And I actually got mistaken for Jelly Roll. I was going out to smoke a cigarette, and the one security guard's like, "Hey, that was a good set you just did." I'm like, "Thanks." I'm like, "I'll let you think I'm Jelly Roll. I'm cool with that shit." But
Yeah, he's a guy that I was convinced I would hate a lot, and I just never paid it much attention. And then recently, like, I have some friends that actually know him. They've worked with him a bunch, and like, just listen. So I started like going backwards, and
yeah.
like it got better the older that it got. So I could see why you feel that way.
Oh, the Big Sal story when he did at the concert I was at, they were giving away single CDs for Bam Bam Bigelow, which is one of the best fucking songs ever.
Yeah, I was just trying to get Bam Bam Bigelow to do a what you call it, a cameo for our fantasy football league.
Is he still alive? I thought he died.
I don't think so.
No,
I think he
died.
And it ended up with we got Hacksaw Jim Duggan and tried to get one of the Bushwhackers.
Oh, I saw a thing with Hacksaw Jim Duggan in some commercial.
Yeah, we got him.
Recently.
It wasn't great.
I mean, he's been taking a lot of blows to the head over the years. So
Yeah, he didn't bring the 2x4. I felt chipped off.
did he at least walk in the room and yell, "Oh"?
He did, but it was just like he phoned it in.
Yeah.
But Bam Bam Bigelow, he's still on there, so that's fucked up. If he's dead, they need to take him off of there.
Yeah, they do. But
So
that means, folks, that it's time to go to our last album of the night. And speaking of great bands such as Wu-Tang Clan, who I compare this band to a more modern version of Wu-Tang in a way. But this band is yet another supergroup from the 2000s that formed. Well, we'll get to that in a second. But I decided when he told me he wanted to bring Army of the Pharaohs, I'm like, all right, I've been waiting for an excuse to bring this fucking group on forever. And I finally found a match because Army of the Pharaohs, this can stand up to Army of the Pharaohs and still be a great CD. And I brought the Coca Nostra's Brand You Can Trust, their fucking debut album they did, which in my opinion is still their best album by far out of the three they did together. But the Coca Nostra was formed out of not Jet Mattress, obviously, but it was formed out of House of Pain, which they met Slane in Boston and they wanted to like work with them, and then fucking from there just grew. And my fucking boy Ill Bill came on it, and Ill Bill is incredible, and that's part of the reason I brought it is because Vinny Piaz and Ill Bill are the Heavy Metal Kings rap duo, and I love Heavy Metal Kings. So I'm like, all right, if he's gonna bring Piaz, I gotta bring Ill Bill in something. So I'm like, the Coca Nostra, fuck yeah. That's where I first heard Ill Bill, and I'm like, he's incredible. And that's what actually led me to Heavy Metal Kings is here in the Coca Nostra. But I kind of went forward and backwards with him. And I love the Coca Nostra because, I mean, I live in Massachusetts, so it's local to me because House of Pain and fucking Slane are all from Boston area. And I love Slane. Slane's solo shit, I gotta find a reason to bring it here too eventually, because his solo shit is amazing. The Day the World Ends, or A World Without. Fuck, I forget that. Forget what the fuck it's called. It's the album that Slane's Dead's on. Oh, A World With No Tomorrow. A World With No Tomorrow. Yeah, that's a fucking incredible album. So, I mean, I want to bring Coco Nostra on for that reason, and just because I think they're one of the most amazing rap groups ever. And I mean, they were in, like, one of the songs on this album was in the movie The Town, because Ben Affleck and Slane are friends, because they're both from Boston.
Was he in that? Slane?
Yes,
He was in one of those
Slane,
movies.
He was in The Town. He was in, I believe he was in a bar. He was in one of the scenes in a bar. He was singing at the bar, but.
Right on.
Funny enough, the guy that was the rapper, like the coach on that Dennis Rodman show, was a white rapper from Boston, the Jaeger bomb story. And he was like DiCaprio's acting coach, like to teach him how to be like South Boston-ish. And he's really good friends with Slane, and he's from South Boston. So that's a weird connection, but
I wish Slane still really performed around Massachusetts, because I would love to fucking see him, but I haven't seen anything about him performing in so long. Like he didn't. Oh no, A World Without Skies. That's the name of that album. A World Without Skies. That's the name of it. But he didn't release stuff anymore. He doesn't really like tour anymore. I don't know what the hell he's doing nowadays. I don't know if he's just chilling, like with the money he made. But
yeah, I see him featured on stuff occasionally.
Occasionally, I've seen him on. I've seen him on like with some hardcore artists that like smaller ones too. Like he'll like hop on them for a cameo, and it's just like, okay, I'm down for it. But I fucking love Slane. He's an amazing artist, and everybody else in the Coco Nostra is amazing too. I mean, how can you go wrong with House of Pain? Fucking jump around, come on, like it's classic. But
it is a classic.
But Gary, have you heard of the Coco Nostra before this? Actually, I know
yeah,
but...
I actually have that shirt from that album, and if I wasn't out of town, I would have worn it on this.
Nuts.
But yeah, I'm a big fan. I loved Cypress Hill, and they're like closely knit, and I love DJ Lethal, and I was not thinking I would like Everlast as like a folk singer or like blues, like whatever. When the Whitey Ford shit came out, and it was so good, and it was just like such a different thing, and then now he does both. And sometimes I think, I'm a big fan. One of those songs on there, I talk like is one of my favorite songs of all time, and I quote it. It's a quote of a quote because they took the title from Nas, but like it's one of my songs that I listen to like every week probably since it came out. So
well, and actually, Chancy, I promise you, Cottonmouth Kings come into play here somewhere, and I don't like to disappoint you because Slane was signed to Suburban Noise Records back in the day, and that's how he met all these different rappers to do this. I mean, and you said Cypress Hill, which Cypress Hill has done a lot with fucking Suburban Noise. Like Cypress Hill has been on a shitload of Cottonmouth King songs over the years. And I mean, it's all California love. I mean, Snoop being on it. They actually toured with Snoop when they did the CD, and he would perform that song with them. And I've seen like live videos, well not live, but videos of it. It's fucking like I would love to see all them in concert. It'd be incredible. It really seems like an amazing experience. And Slane also worked with Madchild a bunch of times too because of being on Suburban Noise. So, I mean, that Suburban Noise in the 2000s when this came out was like right at the peak of like their greatest performance because they had so many fucking amazing rappers on their label at that point. And then like 6, 7, 8 years later, it all started falling apart. But that was mainly because small members broke up. But
yeah, that was like I was a fan of people that they were signing, but like the core of Cottonmouth Kings type rap, rock, Southern California, stoner, whatever. I don't even know what that genre was. I was just like, never
rip rock.
Liked it.
Rip hop, rip rock, whatever you want to call it. They call it different things in every song. But I love Cottonmouth Kings a lot when I was in my 20s. I mean, I still love them, but it's just not something I could bump every day like I used to. Like I used to really love like driving home with a fucking joint in my hand, smoking it, listening to Cottonmouth Kings. It was like that. It was heaven. It was heaven on earth. And I mean, their fucking beats are beyond belief good. Like their DJs are always so fucking right on point with them. But
I do remember that. I did like a lot of the DJ stuff that they did.
I mean, in another ICP inspired band, but gotta love that ICP inspired a lot of the greatest rappers around. But
I wouldn't put them on
Chancy,
the greatest rappers list.
Yeah, right.
They're definitely in my top 10 rap group list.
That's a fucking stretch.
Hey, they're my top 10.
And we have now reached the maximum capacity of your bullshit, sir.
Well, speaking of bullshit, Chancy, have you ever heard of the Coca Nostra before this week? And what you think?
No, ain't ever heard of no cock and nostril before. Not before the show. No, I'm just like, I haven't heard of it, but it really, honestly, I can't say it was all that bad. It wasn't bad. I was actually pretty happy with the choices for this week's episode. I was like, oh, I'm gonna ramp up and I'm just gonna fucking give Jeremy the business. And I was listening to it and I was like, God damn it. Like, I mean, I guess I could lie. I mean, no, it really wasn't bad. I picked five, pretty good ones anyway.
Oh, you're gonna hate me. I mean, just 5 though. It's fucking the Coca Nostra. I mean,
I try to stick to the assignment, sir.
Yeah, I had honorable mentions, but then it was like getting to the point where like all these albums, like the honorable mentions was like the rest of the songs, pretty much.
Right?
Well, funny you say that, because for this album, I pulled a Jeremy and I ranked the whole fucking album because I couldn't pick. Like, it's just every song is pure like me sitting at my desk at work, just fucking nodding along to it, like the fucking beats, like. In my car, I listened to the whole album again in my car on the way home tonight, and I love this album. Like there are actually tracks in this album I discovered again because I didn't realize I used to skip over them all the fucking time because I didn't remember them, and I would hear like the opening beat and be like, and next song, and I'm just like, oh my god, these are all fucking incredible songs. And the ones I thought were going, some of the ones I thought were going to be my top 5, like got pushed so fucking far down, it wasn't even funny. I was like, okay, this is like my top 5 is only like 2 songs I would have called. The 3 out of 5 I wouldn't have called even not as my top 5. But just to start off, and I'll blast through the honorable mentions just to make it go faster. But last on the list was Blaze Sunday, which funny enough because it was the first song on the fucking list, and it got pushed all the way down. But it's a short little thing, and I mean I like the Black Sabbath like riff in the beginning of it, and I fucking love everything. I mean it's a good opener track, that's for sure. But number 14 was Get You By, because that's another one like undiscovered track on this one, because I didn't even remember that song at all. And when I heard it, I was like, oh, these lyrics are fucking deep. I'm digging this shit. And number 13 was Soldier Story, because I mean, it was okay, but it wasn't amazing. Number 12 was Fuck Tony Montana, because I fucking hate Scarface with a passion. I hate Scarface. Godfather's better. But
I'll fight anybody that doesn't agree with that statement.
I mean, two things can be true though. I mean, Scarface is good, but I mean, comparing Scarface and The Godfather is kind of not fair. You're talking about
they're 2 of the biggest like mob movies in the fucking history.
I guess I go ahead.
Scarface gets worse every time I watch it. I think like I loved it, and then there was like an 8-year period where I didn't see it, and then I watched it again, and I'm like, this movie's not good. I'm like, the acting's terrible, like it's pretty racist almost, like how bad the acting is, and like, man, and I think it was the same time where like everybody had a Scarface poster on their wall, and like every fake gangster Scarface all the time.
People were loving the illusion of being Tony Montana. They weren't loving they didn't like the movie. They were just loving the illusion of being Tony Montana and being a boss ass motherfucker. I mean, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. The best part about that movie is the fucking tiger.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's a terrible movie, but people that say it's better than The Godfather or better than Goodfellas or better than a number of other movies that are like actually good. I'm like,
they're wanksters. They're wanksters. Yeah. That's all they are is wanksters.
And they probably didn't even watch it one time, and they just, oh man, Tony. They'd say the same fucking
because everybody in the 90s, early 2000s, every kid that wanted to be tough was like, oh, I love Scarface. But I mean, the video game wasn't bad. I'll give the video game some props because that wasn't a bad video game. But
I don't remember that.
Yeah, I mean the video game was okay.
It was like
I was
GTA,
just
basically.
yeah, it was. I always felt like comparing Scarface and The Godfather was kind of faux pas because they're both not mob movies. They're crime movies for sure, but I mean, Tony Montana is not a part of the mob. He's dealing with the fucking cartel and
Yeah, it's a good
I mean,
point.
I guess mob, mafia, whatever. Now, Goodfellas and Godfather still not a comparison because Godfather's still better, but that's still more of the same avenue.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
Pacino just since it's Pacino, people just group that in with as a mob movie. But yeah, that's a good point. It's a crime movie, but not a mob movie.
I don't know. But my number 11 was Nuclear Medicine Men because I never remember hearing that song either, but it was fucking amazing. Number 10 was Hardcore Chemical because I fucking love the beat in that shit. Like the way they combine like metal and their rap together is just so good. Like I didn't even remember they did that a lot because the songs I usually love off this are pure rap songs. Well, speaking of that, number 9 is one I was surprised didn't make my top 5, but it got pushed down a lot, and that was Bang Bang. But it's so to me, it's overplayed because I listen to that song constantly because I fucking love Snoop Dogg's part in it. I love the whole song, the beat. But number 8 was I'm an American because that's another song I listen to all the time, and Marilyn Manson did a similar song called "This Is America," and like they kind of have the same message. So it's Marilyn Manson's a little funnier, but 7 was Once Upon a Time because that's another one I hear all the time. Once upon a time, not long ago. Like I fucking hear that all the time, and I'm so sick of that song, but it's still an amazing song. It's a song of the streets. Number 6 is Choose Your Side. That's something I discovered again on this one because I forgot about Choose Your Side, kind of. It's another good street song. Number 5, I knew would be in my top 5 right away because it's classic for Coca Nostra, and that's Coke because I love that fucking song. The only song about Coke I like better is the Dayton Family's Cocaine, which is basically a version of the Cheers song, but you want to go where everybody has cocaine.
I like the Dayton Family a lot.
I love Dayton Family. They're so fucking rough and hard about everything, and the shit they've done a lot of good things with ICP over the years too. Number 4 was a song I discovered again. The next 3 are all songs I discovered again on this album I didn't really remember. Number 4 was Brew Area because witchcraft. It's about a witch, basically, and it's fucking amazing song. And the fucking just their flow and everything is fucking just phenomenal. Number 3 was Cousin of Death because I remember that song, but it didn't hit me as hard last time. This time it really hit me hard. And I love when they do like the slower stuff, like when they do like the more like emotional things. It really hits like that they can do. They have such range. And number 2 was the same thing, like The Stain. Like that song is so fucking deep. The lyrics are amazing, and the fucking beat is beyond phenomenal. But number 1 is the song that got me into the Coca Nostra, and it's the song from The Town. It's the video for it. Literally, is all scenes from The Town. It's Gun in Your Mouth. It's a fucking amazing song, and it's what got me into Slain too, because his fucking verses in that are incredible. And I love the way they start out. Like this goes out to the Charlestown bank robbers who still have. Actually, no, I think they did catch him now, but it took them like a decade and a half to catch him. So, fucking.
They always get him eventually.
Eventually, but eventually, yeah. Because the same thing happened in a town I grew up in, where like these people robbed the banks and people robbed a couple banks in the early 2000s, and they weren't caught for years. Like it's just incredible how these people these days get away with this shit and can just vanish.
Yeah, I don't know how anybody gets away with it now. Back without cameras and tracking cell phones and all that, and it had to be way easier because now it seems impossible.
It definitely does. Trust me. Thoughts have crossed the mind, but nothing I'd ever act on. But So, what were your top 5, Gary?
This one was tough, but I kind of ranked them. 5 was Fuck Tony Montana. I think DJ Lethal is very underrated producer, and that it was like a sinister beat. I don't know. I really like that beat a lot. I like Be Real.
he's right up there with a lot of my favorite DJs. I mean, fucking what's his name? Oh, Rob the Viking.
Oh yeah.
From fucking Soul Members, like his DJs, he's right there on that DJ list too. But
I like the dark, feel of that.
Yeah.
Then Bang Bang. I like the West Coast vibe. I don't always like Snoop's shit, but like when Snoop, like
Yeah.
he manages to like if he's on a song, like the song switches to his style, whether it seems like it should or not. It could be totally the other guy's beat, other guys whatever. But as soon as Snoop comes on, it's like a Snoop song. Like this one was like a good version of like a West Coast song. The next one, Once Upon a Time. I just love that song. I always like that song a lot. They have quite a few songs like that, but definitely dope. That's Coke is just same thing. Like it's like their like
Anthem.
Yeah, exactly. And it's got that fuck's the guy's name? Bobby Bird sample, which Jay-Z used, Ninth Wonder used, Evidence used, I think Fat Joe did. And like I'm big into sampling music and guys that do it differently, same song, different parts. But so
yeah, I mean I love that middle part where it's like all together now. Like it's like the fucking beat to it is just so phenomenal. Like it's
yeah, he's underrated producer, I think. It's like I think he's like more he does most like in-house shit. He doesn't seem to be producing for like a ton of other people or doesn't get credit because I can't think of other artists that he's really done stuff that much for except in that circle.
yeah.
But Cousin of Death is the number one. I love that song. That's just like a song I will always listen to. It's completely different than the rest of them, but it's just like I don't know. It's like yeah, it's kind of like I don't know. It's like the thought of like is it better to like fucking go hard, burn out fast, or like fade away? Like I don't know. It's like it's like I don't know. It's like I think about that shit a lot, especially work with all these fighters and athletes that I work with, and like I've worked with like a lot of famous people that have been like on the top and then just like they're fucking shine bright for a second and they fizzle out. It's like I don't know. It's like something I think about, like the Cousin of Death whole thing from the Nas song, and then people have used that quite a bit. It's like, it's that song's like one of my favorite songs. I was like surprised and like very happy when I saw this album pop up. I was like, well, I got one already done. Like, even though it changed 19 times since the order, but
it's pretty much.
But I like all the songs on that album, so it's like. Those I think are my top 5, but the rest is honorable mentions.
Oh, definitely. I mean, they're all fucking incredible. But Chancy, what were your top 5, sir?
Number 5 was Nuclear Medicine Man. Number 4 was Soldier Stories. Number 3 was Brujeria. Number 2 was I'm an American, and number 1 was Bang Bang.
I kind of figured Bang Bang would be in there.
Yeah.
Gun in Your Mouth gets a good honorable mention. Fuck Tony Montana. Those are definitely solid.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, yeah, fuck Tony Montana. I forgot about that song completely. Then, like, after that's Coke played on the way home, like that just the opening beat to that hit, and I was like,
that's what I think about. Like, that is like, or like personifies them as a group, kind of. But I listen to some of the songs I like so much that I like kind of how you were talking about. You like used to skip over them all the time, but this kind of forced me to listen to the whole album as a whole.
Exactly.
Like,
I mean, I haven't heard this whole album as a whole in probably 6-7 years, and it's just as incredible as I never heard the first time. And like, it's what made me fall in love with them and in love with Slain and even House of Pain. Like, I went back and listened to all the House of Pain albums too, but it's just like I only knew their hits. I never listened to their other stuff. Like, it just never came up. But
yeah, they got some shit like. Even like their pop songs that are their hit, like most of that kind of shit, I just don't even want to hear. But Jump Around comes on, I probably won't turn it off ever in my life.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And I Chancy's not hate me for this shit, but I do love ICP's version of it.
I haven't heard it, but it might be like some songs like You Don't Fuck With. That might be one.
I mean, they don't try to change it, but like just their flow in it is fucking obscenely good.
Check it out.
Like they keep up with the speed of the song, and I mean, there's a video for it too, actually. But well, folks, you heard an awesome rap battle of 3 amazing albums tonight. Unfortunately, your musers are going to be missing next week's regularly scheduled episode because, of course, it's Halloween and kids trick or treating and all that good crap. So
Yeah.
Not going to be here next week to do the show, but I'm trying to work on.
Fuck them kids.
No, Chancy, we're actually not doing that on Halloween. That's their day. But
what?
Chancy's that motherfucker on the front porch that throws eggs at kids. But
that's good.
But I'm trying to work on special listeners that'll fill that void for you because gotta fill the void. But Gary, thank you for coming on. It's been a fucking incredible time having you. We're definitely going to have you back because you can talk rap better than most people we ever had in the show, and it'd be amazing to have you back on and do even different music. So
yeah, I had a fun time. I'll come on anytime.
Definitely. I'm definitely going to have to get your. Actually, no, I have you on the gram, so I can talk to you there. And where can people find you and what you do, Gary, if they want to?
Instagram, it's Gary _DeFranco 147. Or you go to maxglowmedia.com. Tragedy Academy is my podcast. It's a really good podcast. We have interesting people from all walks of life on there. And Gamebred MMA, Gamebred Boxing, Gamebred Bare Knuckle MMA. Definitely should check that out. It's Jorge Masvidal's promotion. I've been doing all their media for them, their countdown shows, and you want to see some real fucking solid fighting, I would definitely check that out.
Well, there you go, folks. Yeah. And speaking of the void, Chancy, where can I find you?
Well, outside of the void, obviously. They can, the great scavenger hunt still continues. They can try and find me on the Facebook under my name. Instagram and TikTok, it's the Red Eye Roundtable, and on X, it is Red Eye Table.
That's right, folks. Find them if you can. Just like Where's Waldo, but except if you find them, you might get something at the end. And of course, you can find, they can question what they're finding, but you can of course find both of us at your favorite musers. We are on Facebook as Uncensored, Untamed, Unapologetic UQ Podcast Collective Group. We are on XX Baby and the Graham as that Juggalo Bastard. You can find us on TikTok, coming soon, clips as that Juggalo Bastard Podcast. And you can find us on YouTube as Maniacal Music Musings, or you can find us streaming live on Blind Knowledge Network on YouTube. Because all knowledge was blind until Chancy took the gun out of his mouth. We will catch you next week. Well, actually, no, we won't get you next week, but we'll catch you sometime in between, hopefully, and we'll see you in 2 weeks for our regularly scheduled episode. Who the guest is? I'd have to look. I have no idea. But just remember, nothing changes your mind in life like a gun in your mouth. Peace out.
Probably true.